Good morning, students. Today we are going to start the second chapter of business studies, which is forms of business organizations. So, during the ancient times, when the demands of humans were limited or small, the businesses were basically done on a small scale basis. So, the sole trade was the most popular form of business organization. But with the advancement of human civilization and with the increase in human demands, now the business is being done on a large scale basis. So the large scale business organization resulted in many kinds of problems. So to solve these problems, various kinds of business organizations were formed. So basically, business organization means how businesses are structured and how their structure helps them meet their goals. There are different kinds of business organizations that relate to how the business is established, owned, and operated. Some businesses is managed by single individuals, while some business is managed by many peoples collectively in the form of partnership, while some business is run in the form of joint stock companies. There are, on the basis of ownership also, there are many different kinds of organizations. Like some business is run in the private sector, while there are others which are run in public sector and are managed by the government, and still there are some undertakings which are controlled jointly by public and private sectors. So basically form of organizations are of three types. First one is private sector, second one is public sector, and the last one is joint sector. So what is private sector? The part of economy that is not under direct state control, or we can say when the undertakings are owned and run by private individuals, then we can term that private sector. And second one is public sector, the part of economy that is controlled by the state government or central government only, then we can term that public sector. And the last one is joint sector. Joint sector consists of business undertakings wherein the ownership, control, and management are shared jointly by the government, the private entrepreneurs, and the public at large. So under private sector, we can classify the organizations as incorporated or corporated. Means non-corporated means those which organizations are not registered, and incorporated means the organization which are registered under a certain act. So first one is sole proprietorship. So what is sole proprietorship? The sole proprietorship is the simplest business form under which one can operate a business. It simply refers to a person who owns the business and is personally responsible for its debts. A sole proprietorship can operate under the name of its owner, or it can do business under a fictitious name. So it is that form of business which is established by a single individual. Means all the capital investments are made by a single person, and he himself directs all the activities of the business. Means the decisions relating to different kinds of activities are taken by a single person. So the person operating such a kind of business is known as a sole trader, and the kind of activities done by him is known as a sole trade. So the concept of business organization only points toward his ownership. So next one is features of a sole proprietorship. First one is individual ownership. Means all the capital investments under sole trade business are done by a single person. He is the sole owner of all the assets and resources of the business. Means all the assets and resources are owned by him. Second one is sole management. In the sole trade, the owner performs the function of management, but with the increase in the size and volume of business, he can appoint managers also. Means all the decisions regarding activities are taken by him. The sole trader himself decides what kind of activities he wants to perform and what kinds of activities he is not interested to perform. Third one is unlimited liability. Unlimited liability means in case the business suffers heavy losses, then not only the capital invested by him but also his individual properties or domestic assets will be used to pay the debts to the outsiders. So the liability of the owner is not limited to the extent of his capital investment. In case of losses to the organization, his personal properties will also be utilized to pay the liabilities to the outsiders. Fourth one is freedom in selection of business. Since he is the sole owner of the business, he himself decides what kind of activities he wants to perform. He doesn't require to consult with any other person, or he is not under the pressure from other persons to choose a particular kind of business. Next one is secrecy. So when he himself is the sole owner of the business, he can maintain secrecy of the business. The information about all important matters concerning the business rest only with the sole trader himself. So no outsider party can take any undue advantage out of it. Next one is no separate legal entity of the business. No separate legal entity means according to law, business and businessman are one and same thing. All the assets and liabilities of the business are that of the businessman. In this form of organization, businessman and business are considered one same person, which means the business will exist with the businessman only. If the businessman dies, then the business activities will come to an end. The second last is undivided risk. Undivided risk means if the organization earns profit, then the sole trader himself pocketed all the profits of that firm. But if he incurs losses during the course of activities, then he himself will bear all the losses of an organization. And the last one is suitable for some special form of organizations. There are some special trades which require special attention and services. So there are certain kinds of businesses which can only be operated under sole trader organizations. Like if some person wants to open a bakery, or some person wants to operate some beauty parlor, so these kinds of businesses can be operate under sole trade organizations effectively. And the next topic is merits of sole proprietorship. First one is quick decisions. Since the sole trading organization is managed by a single person, so he does not require to consult anybody regarding any kind of decisions. So he is benefited by the quick decisions making. If any opportunity arise in the market, he can take the benefit of those opportunities with the help of quick decision making. Next is benefits of secrecy. Since he is the sole owner of the business, he does not require to share all the informations about the important matters related to the business. And under sole proprietorship, it is not required to publish the accounts of the business organization. So the public is not came to know about the actual position or the profit earned by the proprietor. So he can maintain secrecy of a business. And the next is direct motivation. The sole trader is inspired by the fact that whatever profit he gets, he will go into his pockets. So the sole trader does not require any kind of external motivation for doing the business activities. Next is personal control. Since the business is managed by the single person, so he has full control over the activities of business. So, and all the employees are under his direct control. So good work is possible at less cost and time. And the last one is easy formation. So it is very easy to form sole trader organization. There is no need to require to obtain any kind of certificate from the government, and it is not required to get registered the sole trading organization with the registrar of the companies. So it is easy to form sole proprietorship and run the organization. And the next topic is limitations of sole proprietorship. First is limited source of capital. As we know, under sole trade organization, a single person is the sole owner of all the assets of the firm. All the capital investments are made by a sole trader himself. And we know that the sources of a single person are always limited. So if the sole trader wants to expand the size of his business activities or wants to introduce a new product, then he will not be able to expand the size of business because of the limited sources of capital of the sole trader. Next is unstable existence. There is a continuous uncertainty in running a sole trade. An enterprise that depends on one man comes to an end if that man becomes seriously ill or dies. In such a situation, arising out of unstable existence or lack of continuity, prove disastrous for employees and those persons and institutions who had business relations with such an institutions. And the next is unlimited liability. Since all the profits made by these sole trade organizations are pocketed by the sole trader himself, so if an organization incurs any kind of loss, then it is the full responsibility of the sole trader to accept those losses. So because according to the law, sole trade organization and the sole proprietor are one and same thing, not two different persons. So all the liabilities of the business became the liabilities of the sole proprietor himself. And the last one is unbalanced management. As we know, under sole proprietorship, all the business activities are managed by the sole trader himself. Like from where to purchase the raw material, from whom to purchase, what kind of goods to be sold out, or what procedure is to be used for the production of goods and services, from where to raise finance, and in which kind of market the product is to be sold. All the decisions regarding these activities are taken by the sole trader himself. And we know that a single person is not able to perform all these activities efficiently. So he has to face the many kinds of managerial problems. And as a result of this, his decisions get imbalanced. So these were the limitations of sole proprietorship.